Well, I've not even had a chance to film my day yet because I've been on the phone all morning to the police, to lawyers, all because of a certain Not-A-Flamethrower. But welcome your faces to another day in the life of Tom, where you did hear that right. The past 3-4 hours of non-stop phone calls between police, between lawyers, between everyone, family friends, family people being like, what the heck is going on? So now yesterday I told you, I'll give you an update with what happened with the police and all that. I was just going down to Syndicate Original, and before I set off to go down to Syndicate Original, I bumped into them and they basically said like, listen, we're going to take the gun, we need to assess it, this. They asked me if I imported it from China, of which I told them like, no, it's from Elon Musk, it's from the Boring Company. I like how it's like we always refer to this as it's from him personally, like it was his idea, but you know, he didn't hand make them. I explained to him what it was, where it was from and all that, and they took that into consideration, went away and looked at it, and it still didn't make a difference because they inevitably turned around to me and said, listen, you either hand it over to us so we can assess it and basically it'll just be gone forever. That was not their words, that's mine. So I either hand it over to them, they either arrest me for being in the possession of like a firearm, or if they can't arrest me, they get a warrant to search my premises to try and locate it and confiscate it. Now I said to them, listen, I'm not trying to cause any trouble, I don't want to cause any problems, I just want to go the legal route with this. Now they could say what the legal route is, but as they turned up yesterday and was like, we're taking it off you, I was like, do you have a warrant to do that? Again, not trying to be a dick or anything like that, and I explained that to him so many times. It's just that I really like this Not-A-Flamethrower. It's like a collector's item. So I really don't want to part ways with it. Like I had fun burning stuff and yeah, I joked about a series and stuff like that, but literally just wanted to put it on the wall. So looks like I might not be doing that. All right, time to flee the country. I'm joking. I've got to go down to London for a meeting, so let's rock and roll. This was such a last minute thing to get down here for this meeting, and I only had like an hour's notice. My flight's at 7:40 and it's currently 6:55. I'll be fine. Security took a sweet minute to get through there, but
7:50, land in Heathrow, go to gate 141, sorted.
Now because it's only on go to gate, I'm gonna try and get some food. Hey, I was walking along with little AirPods in, like minding my own business, just coming to get a coffee real quick. And this girl you're about to see in a minute, Laura, like just tapped me on the shoulder, turned around, and she was like basically crying. I was like, are you okay? She wants a photo. You made it look like I'd like hit you or something. I turned around, she was like almost crying or something. Wait, what's your brother called? Peter, you didn't get her a Syndicate Original shirt for her birthday, so I'm going to send her one for free, so take that.
When they say boarding's closed, okay, yeah, they've stopped boarding it and you need to close the doors, but look, everyone's just here.
I managed to pull that one off in style rather than sitting in my normal seat. I saw these rows and was like, are these available?
And it turns out, yes, they are. Look at that leg room.
You may continue to use handheld electronic devices for landing.
Right then, so we have updates on the Not-A-Flamethrower situation. I'm just going to dive straight into it straight away so it's fresh on my mind. So, as you heard in yesterday's vlog, I got basically given a deadline of 4 PM yesterday. And the deadline was if I do not come down to the police station, hand over the Not-A-Flamethrower, the police would be turning up, arresting me to then gain access to my premises to search the premises for the actual Not-A-Flamethrower. And it was also said that if they couldn't find it in my premises, then they would then gain access to any other premises that they thought it may be in. At this point, I was given till actually Friday, and I have on recording the police telling me that they were giving me till Friday to speak to lawyers, like get my information from that and then return to them. On the phone to the police when I said, hang on a minute, I thought I had till Friday to try and like work out a solution or what the heck was going on, like just get some advice on the situation. They told me that they didn't actually say Friday, and when I told them that on the recording they did say Friday, they took the attitude of it, we are coming no matter what today at 4 PM and we will be confiscating the Not-A-Flamethrower. So we'd gone from an understanding of they didn't want to escalate the situation, being escalating it via getting a warrant from my address to search my property and then confiscate it, or what was seeming to be the most readily available option, which was to simply arrest me, and then via arresting me, they would then gain legal entry to search my property. And that was what they were insisting was going to happen at 4 PM Thursday. So in this entire situation, I had been trying to speak to my lawyer, trying to get in touch with him. Like I said, I had till Friday, which was great. I was like, they've given me till the end of the week. Perfect. I'd spoken to my lawyer, and my lawyer was actually in Africa, so it was a bit difficult to have like communication back and forth, like the time difference and everything. So this is where I now need to give a shout out to Alex Clawton, who is a lawyer that I spoke to from Ollier's, the law firm in Manchester. As soon as I spoke to him, he immediately understood the situation. He knew what the Not-A-Flamethrowers were. He knew Elon Musk was, he knew how they were for sale, he knew a lot about it already. So I was like, this is great, because I was assuming this was just gonna be such a grey area that it would just be a case of, I don't know, what should we do, what's the answer? Because again, when the police turned up outside my house and they said they were taking it off me, they asked me if it was something I'd bought from China, like I'd randomly found online, and they'd never even heard of like it being from Elon Musk, the Boring Company, like anything. So in my mind, it was just a case of like, the police have just seen something they don't like, they've come to take it off me without doing the research, because when I mentioned the Boring Company, Elon Musk or anything like that, it just went straight over the heads. So I was so thankful that Alex actually knew about it, so it was easier to discuss with Alex because he knew what the device was, and we could go from there. So what the police said I was in breach of was section 51B. So now we understood where the police were coming from. Rather than it being the thing of, oh, it's a flamethrower, it was more of a technicality of, okay, this thing looks like a gun. Because it looks like a gun, and what was actually stated in section 51B, this was an airsoft rifle, which had been modified to put the metal piping through of a weed burner. Now, if you don't know what a weed burner is, it's basically a weed burner torch that people can just buy online. If you're from England, you can buy one now, and you can just walk around your like front lawn or whatever, and you can burn away at like the weeds. Just to clarify, not drugs, I actually mean just like weeds as in plants on the floor. And if it was to classify as a modified weapon, then that would mean I'd be in breach of section 1 of the Firearms Act, which would be having possession of said weapon. So I spoke to Alex and I was like, you know, what's the best advice? Like, what should we do? Because I'm not trying to piss off the police, and they know I'm not trying to piss them off. I'm just trying to get legal advice, which they've allowed me to do now only up until 4 p.m. And from there, I'm being given the option of whether or not I just want to hand it over to them, or whether I'm not going to play ball and I'm going to make them come to me, arrest me, and then seize it. Which obviously is not the outcome we want in the slightest, but at the time when they turned up outside my property, it was the statement of, we can lock you up right now and just go and do it, or you hand it over. So again, it was that back and forth of, you know, when they first initially like knocked on the door, they were told, we have the warrant, we were doing this, and when I actually, you know, questioned them on it, they said they didn't. And unfortunately, I can't prove what happened in that conversation. But I do have the conversation where they said they could arrest me there and then outside my house. I have the conversation where they say I have till Friday, and nowhere in that conversation does that change to, no, we can't do Friday, we'll do Thursday instead. To it then being, you've got till Thursday at 4 p.m, was like, it was just scare tactic, now we'll play ball, scare tactic, now we'll play ball, and then left it on like a scare tactic, you've got till 4 p.m. And it wasn't like a case of like, oh, I'm just gonna wait till Friday and turn around and be like, hey, what are we gonna do, guys? Like, I was actually waiting for my lawyer who was in Africa to communicate with me. But then when they decided to escalate the situation again, I had to step things up. So again, a massive shout out to Alex and his team from Manchester, because their advice was amazing, super responsive, and had some great advice. So after speaking to Alex, I had the phone number of the police officer, I gave him a ring, and immediately was like, thank you for ringing us back, we appreciate that you even got back in touch with us. They actually thought it was going to go the entire way of them having to turn up at 4 p.m, arrest me, and go like that from there. They expressed that they didn't want it to come down to that. Obviously, I didn't want it to come down to that. I just needed the time that I thought I was allocated, and because I wasn't actually given that time, I had to expedite things. So I spoke to him about like 3:30 and discussed with him that I'd spoken to a lawyer. I can understand where they're coming from now with the actual section they were referring to of it being a modified weapon, because when they first initially were outside my house, they weren't referring to it as being a modified weapon, they were referring to it as being only an offensive weapon. And that's where it was a grey area, because the first time round they were just saying it's an offensive weapon, we want to seize it, and they weren't giving me any information as to why it was an offensive weapon. And luckily everything went well from there. The police officers were super chill from that point on. They knew I weren't going to be like, yeah, come and get it, motherfuckers, because I expressed to the police officer that I understand where they were coming from, the legal advice I've like had as well, like it like clears things up for not just me, the like the lawyers, and it just gives us a better picture of things, that it's like, right, okay, let's come up with a scenario that doesn't revolve in me losing this Not-A-Flamethrower. Because at the end of the day, I know some people may be like, Tom, just hand it over. Like, this thing to me isn't just like, oh, I want to keep this burning device just so I can set things on fire. Like, as I told you guys, I want to hang it on my walls like a Call of Duty Zombies like chalk around it. I'll put it into like one of those glass cabinets, you know, where it says like break glass in case of emergency. But in my case, I was going to get a glass cabinet made and have it customly say break glass in case of zombie apocalypse. So I was like, this is like the sickest idea ever. But then the thought of it being taken off me and never being able to get it back, which again, they didn't say I would never get it back, but it was the case of, if this goes in the system, the chances are you're never going to see this again. So we're at this point of communication where we're playing ball with each other. And yeah, you could say losing $500 is better than going to jail. And again, it's not the thing that it's worth $500. To me, it's a collector's item from Elon Musk. Like Elon Musk, an eccentric billionaire who got bored one day and made a company called The Boring Company. Then decides, what can I do? You know what? I'm going to sell flamethrowers. Of which he then learned you can't sell flamethrowers. So he modified them and changed it to Not-A-Flamethrower. And to be a part of something as cool as that, like you could say, there's 20,000 of them. It's not that limited edition. Well, I see Elon Musk as the guy who is sending, you know, cars into space. He's the most Iron Man-esque person I think we'll ever see in our lifetime. And to be part of a project he's been involved in, to me, is like a massive honor. So this is where I suggested to the police, how about I let you guys take the weapon to disarm it? And I say disarm disarm it, like, you know, you could just take off the gas and be like, it doesn't work. To which I told him that at the moment, the Not-A-Flamethrower, after like 3 uses, the seal on the back of it had already gone, so it actually wasn't working. You know, again, to like calm down the situation with them, like, hey, if someone actually broke in, decided, oh, I'm gonna go burn something down with it, you know, that's what they're trying to stop at the end of the day. Well, not to panic, it's in a safe location. More importantly, it doesn't work. But with the power of Ken, I hope we can fix it. By the way, Ken's my dad, and he's a wizard. So for the police to disarm it, I'd hand it over to them. You know, I suggested maybe you could take the igniter switch out of it. And immediately as I was suggesting these things, the police officer I was in question to, like, well and truly clicked that I am willing to, like, play ball with them. I don't want no trouble. And he was open to this idea as well. Because he even agreed that he doesn't want to have to, like, take this thing off me because he understands it's like a collectible item. He understands it's worth a lot of money. And he truly gets how much it means to me. Hence why I didn't just hand it over straight away. So it was nice to, like, de-escalate the situation to, okay, he knows I'm willing to work with him. He's also working with me by saying, listen, we've got someone coming in next week who's like our head of firearms or firearms officer, or basically they've got someone coming in next week who can take a look at it and decide how they could like disarm it without damaging it so it can be put back to its original state at a later date. Say if I was going to sell it, it was for some reason classed as a legal device in the future. But basically, you know, having my back in regards to he doesn't want me to lose this forever because I'm willing to play ball, we can find a solution where I can still keep it and not damage it. So I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And because now we're on the same page, this is where I pulled out like my, you know, like my ultimate like ace up my sleeve. And I suggested the potential of maybe shipping it to America. The policeman immediately said that he can't legally advise that, but it could maybe potentially be an option because that way it's going to be out the country. I can keep it in its original state. It won't be devalued. I've still got it. I actually have a place out in America that I could store it at, or just one of my friends that I know in California where it's originally from, and therefore there'd be no issues. Or so you'd hope. And from this point, the conversation, like, in my opinion, like, really de-escalated. He saw that I thought about not only one option, but a second alternative option, because I just want these guys to be able to get back to work, doing what they need to do, and not be worrying about some guy who's got a Not-A-Flamethrower in their local area giving them a headache. I even joked with the guy of saying, like, I wish it was working, and if I could invite you to my house to come and use it and you weren't going to confiscate it, you could have a go of it before I either had it disarmed or shipped out the country. Now, again, I'm sure there's probably some massive legal things about shipping it out the country, and I am doing absolutely nothing now without advice from the police or anything like that. So now that we were kind of like laughing and joking about it, like, it would have been funny if the police officer could have come up and then gone like, you know, test it and be like, this is so much fun, but at the same time, like, yeah, we have to do something about this. It would have been like, you know, an all-round nice way to come out of it, you know, because at the end of the day, he got given orders to like go and confiscate this weapon. I think he expected it to be a walk in the park. It did truly feel like there was a lot of like scare tactics used, you know, what was said to the person who was originally at my house, whether or not they did or didn't say it. I can only take the person who told me his truth for it, and I trust them. To then I had till Friday, till I had till Thursday 4 p.m, to then the point we were at, which was a really good point to be at. So to you, good officer, I would assume you're going to see this video. I appreciate your patience. I do appreciate that I had extra time other than being arrested there and then, and even had till Thursday 4 p.m. Thank you for that. So we'd well and truly found a middle ground of where to go with this. So as it stands right now, the police officer I was talking to said I was allowed to hold on to the Not-A-Flamethrower till next week. And next week, when this firearms officer or somebody comes in, they'll have a discussion with how they can potentially disarm this to then allow me to keep it. Because at the end of the day, I just want to store it on my wall. Yes, it would be amazing to be able to pull it off and let people try it in my house or something like that. But other than that, to me, it's an honor to have this collector's item like hung on a wall, in a glass cabinet, or whatever. Anyway, that next week he would be in touch with me with more information and we'd go from there. Or whether to be able to ship it to America could work. That way I get to keep the flamethrower, it doesn't get tampered with, and it just stays in its original state. And this leads us to where we are now. So yeah, crazy series of events. I've got till next week. I'm going to hear from the police officers and we'll just go from there. If I hear any more information, I'll be sure to let you guys know. It is a really crazy scenario, and you know, I'm 100% trying my best to cooperate with the police officers. I'm just glad now, like, with legal guidance, like, you know, what my rights are, what the situation is, like what that I'm actually being accused of, rather than it just being like, we think you've got an offensive weapon, but like there's a reason as to why we think it was an offensive weapon now. So yeah, I don't think it needed to get to the point where it was like, listen, if we don't get it by 4 p.m. today, we're going to arrest you and then get it that way. Because again, it was in a safe location and it didn't even work. And I know the police are just doing the job, but the way it came across, it just seemed like a lot of scare tactics. And as soon as I was like, legal, they kind of backed off a bit. And that's all I wanted, just some legal advice. And I managed to get that legal legal advice. We were then on the same page and we moved forward from there. So again, to the police officer, I'm sorry it got to the point where it did escalate, but it was nice to see that we could both bring it back down to earth and just talk about things. So hopefully we can wrap this up by next week. That way I'm not feeling like I'm wasting any of the police's time. They can get on with dealing with something else. And potentially at the end of the day, I still either get to keep the flamethrower, whether it's missing a part or in a different country. But yeah, just another day in the life of Tom. And I'm saying this right now to all my YouTube friends, which I have been bombarded with people DMing me, like as fellow UK YouTubers being like, Tom, I've ordered one of these things. It says it's on its way. Like I've been waiting for it for months. Like what should I do? Get some legal advice. I am not going to give you any because I am not wanting to be dragged into a situation again where it's like, oh yeah, Tom said it's absolutely fine. And then, you know, you end up getting arrested. So either get some legal advice or cancel your order. And in the off chance for some reason Elon Musk would ever see this, I just want to say I think it's absolutely incredible that I did even manage to get my hands on one of these devices for like even the shortest time. I wasn't running around the streets burning things down or anything like that. I used it on my private property and I had an absolute blast with it. I think it's an incredible device. I think you are like the Tony Stark of our generation and I really hope you do more stuff like it. I hope it didn't cause you any trouble. And if it did, I'm sorry. But what I can say from the first time I used it, it was worth every penny. And I guess every bit of drama. But you're a goddamn legend and stay awesome. And thus, I have to end today's vlog, guys. I'm sorry it was a bit of a mumbled, jumbled up all over the place kind of vlog, but you know, I'm down in London for a meeting. I like how like when I tweeted I was on a plane yesterday, people were like, you were fleeing the country. I was like, no, I'm not fleeing the country. I'm just going to London. There's still British police down here. If anything, there's more of them. And the entirety of the rest of the day, I was on the phone to lawyers and police. So yeah, that's what the situation is. My phone's been blowing up all day with emails of like news companies like reaching out to me for a statement about it. And I tried my best to reply to as many of them as I could. Some of the articles that I've seen are actually quite funny. A YouTuber finds himself hot under the collar. Things are heating up for this YouTuber. You know, just stuff like that. But guys, I have to go because I have to get this video edited and uploaded for your faces. So thank you very much for watching. Again, by any chance, the police officer who's been involved in like dealing with this situation, I really don't want to waste any of your time. I have no intention of that. I've always wanted to cooperate. All I ever wanted to do was just speak to a lawyer, be given the advice I got and move forward from there. So I'm glad we are on the same page. I hope it doesn't cause you any trouble and I hope it gets the higher ups off your back. And who knows if one day it is like found out to be like, yeah, you can have one in this country. I would love for you to come up to my house and I would love for you to use it. Because that would be the ultimate wrap up to this story. But anyway, guys, I'm going to love you, leave you. Make sure you leave a like, rate, and subscribe. If you are new around here, I film every single day of my life, whether it's sat around doing nothing, going on random adventures, playing with a Not-A-Flamethrower, being arrested for Not-A-Flamethrower, or having it confiscated off me. So yeah, make sure you click that subscribe button, ding down that notification bell, and make sure you leave a like, rate, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 6 PM-ish for the next daily vlog. So, you know what it's always like. I say 6 PM, but I'm always late. So, love you, I'll leave you. If anything else occurs for whatever reason, I'll make sure to mention it in this vlog. But more importantly, I'm always talking about it on my Twitter. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's @ProSyndicate. I'll see you guys there. Much love, and adios.